Episode 473. In Glory, there are many types of professions. Perhaps any random combination of classes can clear a dungeon, but different combinations always lead to different strategies and teamwork. For different dungeons, there are always the most efficient, the most brutal, the safest, and all sorts of other types of team compositions to choose from. For a newcomer, just being able to smoothly complete a single dungeon run is already pretty good. In Glory, a dungeon attempt is consumed the moment you enter, not just when you clear it. The people Yi Shu had been dealing with were all experts and veterans. Even if they weren't, with him on the team, clearing a dungeon was a guaranteed success. But for your average newbie player, dying a few times a day in the dungeon is just par for the course. That's one of the reasons why players from the major guilds keep pulling further and further ahead of the pack. Having a pro guide you through a dungeon is a world apart from a newbie trying to figure out the clearing on their own. Even though there are very thorough walkthroughs for these dungeons online, newbies trying to put them into practice will still die quite a few times in the process. Not only do you lose all the dungeon's rewards each time you die, you even lose a chunk of experience. With all that fumbling around, how could they possibly level up as fast as the seasoned veterans? Even if they couldn't reach Yi Shu's level, at least they knew how to run a dungeon. They didn't have to deal with that kind of awkwardness. Back when Yi Shu was just looking after his own crew, whether it was Tang Ru, Baozi, or anyone else, even if they were total newbies, clearing a dungeon was never a problem for him. But now, running a guild with 500 members, it's obviously impossible for one person to carry the entire load. So he ended up chattering away in the guild channel, correcting every little thing he saw that wasn't quite right. After all that fuss, Yi Shu hadn't accomplished a thing himself. He'd just spent 2 hours chatting in the guild channel. And this was just when a small part of the guild was online. And when all 500 members are online, just how many trivial matters will that be? Just thinking about it made Yi Shu's scalp prickle. Setting up a guild was a hassle to begin with, which was why pro teams always hired dedicated people to manage them. A pro player is the back-end support. When does a pro ever personally get involved in this kind of grunt work? Of course, Yi Shu didn't want it to be this way, but he simply had no one else to help him. Tang Ru's skills are top-notch, but in these matters, she's probably not even as good as the new recruits. As for Baozi, he's a veteran at the game, but the idea of him running a guild, you'd have to be hit in the head by a pig to even think of it. Su Mucheng and Chen Guo could certainly lend a hand, but given their own circumstances, there wasn't much they could do at the moment. Yi Shu's gaze swept around, finally landing on the 2 level 36 characters from the guild. Both of them are still online. Looks like they're on the night shift, too. During the battle against the Guardian Demon God, Yi Shu had been carefully observing these players' actions. Their little tricks, deliberately holding back or trying not to cooperate, simply couldn't escape the eyes of an old veteran like him. This was another reason Yi Shu was convinced these people were spies. But it wasn't just because of that initial chaotic rush into the fight that he'd started to suspect them. Yi Shu's eye was sharp, but he was also in the thick of the fight. He couldn't keep an eye on everything at all times, so his observations weren't exactly comprehensive. For instance, he could no longer recall how these 2 characters had performed when killing the Guardian Demon God. That was another reason he couldn't be sure about their identities.
If they really are spies, maybe I can put them to use again.
Yi Shu considered. Anyone who would come here as a spy would be a die-hard guild loyalist, an absolute veteran of Glory. He might not have any real managerial talent, but that wasn't what Yi Shu needed right now. He just wanted someone who could help him manage these new recruits. Any Glory veteran could handle that. But this starting point is no easier than fighting the Guardian Demon. It's practically treating them as a core leadership member already. This is the inner circle every undercover agent would kill to get into. Once you're in, you have a chance to build your own authority among the guild's players. And if that person is a mole, then the situation becomes truly perilous.
Well, what am I supposed to do about this?
Yi Shu considered it quietly for another moment, then finally clicked open the chat windows for those 2 names and sent out friend requests. One person accepted almost immediately, while the other, despite being online, gave no response. The one who didn't respond was of course Blue River. He had no idea what to do next. With his spy alt account, he just wandered aimlessly across the vast map of glory. Suddenly, a system message popped up. He clicked it open without thinking, and it was a friend request from Lord Grimm. Blue River froze for a moment.
What's that supposed to mean?
Blue River realized his luck was truly rotten. He just wanted to zone out here, but something always landed in his lap, and it was always the kind of thing that made him have to stop and think, to really rack his brains. Finding no clear answer, Blue River simply gave up on thinking about it. He accepted the friend request, sent one back, and then proactively sent a message.
Guild leader, what's up?
Hey, what's up? Nothing much. Come to the arena, let's have a spar.
The reply came across like a message from an old friend, which left Blue River feeling a bit disoriented again. He thought to himself,
Did he recognize me? That's impossible.
Blue River replied to the message.
All right, where to?
Blue River asked the question as he was already making his way back from the wilderness to the main city. He entered the arena, found the room Lord Grimm had created, and saw Lord Grimm already locked in combat with that level 36 player. That was just Blue River's first impression upon entering the room. On closer inspection, calling it a chaotic brawl was far too generous to the player named One Chicken Feather. This wasn't even a fight in the same weight class. After just a few glances at this utter shambles of a performance, Blue River couldn't bear to watch any longer. In his eyes, this was clearly a rookie who had just entered glory, while his opponent was the legendary Yi Chu, a veteran who had been playing for a full decade.